Watch how I get everyone's attention. Thank you. Being 5 o'clock, I'll call this meeting to order, and I'll ask everyone to rise and clerk to say the prayer, please.
O God, let us each in our own way ask your wisdom and guidance in our deliberations. Help us to incorporate into all our decisions those values which will enable us to fulfill our mission, to act as responsible stewards, and to respect and value the cultural and spiritual traditions of all citizens of the City of Prince Albert. For this we pray. Amen.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to acknowledge that we're on Treaty 6 land, the home of the Métis. And with that, before I go to the approval of the agenda, I have a few changes. Under 9.2.1, Diane Lavoie as another speaker. She owns Secrets store there. So to add her. And then to further item number 11.5 regarding the 2022 Executive Committee and Council meeting schedule, I would request that the amendment from September to December 22 calendar pages on your desk, which included the Budget Committee related dates for 2022, be added as an item for consideration. The Budget Committee is a main committee of council similar to the Executive Committee, and the dates of these meetings should be included in the report, so then our staff know when their deadlines are to come ahead. So with that, I'll ask for someone to move the agenda as amended. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll go ahead and move that the agenda for this meeting be approved with the following amendments, and that the presentations, delegation of speakers listed on the agenda be heard when called for by the Mayor. One, that the Budget Committee related dates from September to December 22 be included for consideration with item number 11.5, and two, that Diane Lavoie be allowed to address members of council during consideration during 9.2.
Thank you. Seconder. Oh, Councillor Kilmer.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I'll prompt the vote. The vote is open. Councillor Zepp.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, she's in. Okay, the vote carries. Thank you. Close it and accept it. Declaration of conflict of interest. You all know what that is. If you have to declare, when the item comes up, you declare it and give the document to the city clerk. Adoption of the minutes of September 7th. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. That the minutes of the council meeting, regular meeting held September 7, 2021 be taken, read, and adopted.
Thank you. Senator. Councillor Brodnick.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Hearing no discussion, I'll prompt the question. The vote is open. Councillor Zepp.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. I'll accept it and move to the next item. Notice of proclamations. I had 4. Number 1, World No Alcohol Day, October 2nd, 2021. Seniors Transportation Week, September 26th to October 2nd, 21. Cultural Days, September 24th to October 24th, 21. And Agriculture Month, October 2021. Those are the 4 proclamations I made since our last meeting. Presentations, we have none. Public hearings, we have none. We have delegations. We have 9.1, request for painting crosswalks orange for Orange Shirt Day Awareness Campaign, and we have a speaker here. So I'd ask her to go to the mic, and you have 5 minutes to make your presentation, and if you could identify who you are and who you represent. Oh, just wait, sorry. I got a... Okay, sorry, you're now live. Thank you.
Tansegi gawal, Kristana tasigasun, Gayate otsinia, Magamekwats, Nimikin, Kistapinaninik, Niagima, First Nations University. Bonjour, je m'appelle Krista, je suis la présidente de l'université ici pour les étudiantes à Prince-Albert. Je suis originaire de Kakiwishtaha et maintenant je vis à Prince-Albert. Good day to everybody. My name is Krista. I'm the president of the Students Association for the First Nations University. I'm originally from Kakiwishtaha, Treaty 4, and I live here now. I felt it was important to start this discussion today in what I feel should be the 3 official languages of Canada. As we know, in 2 days now, it is going to be the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. We are just 3 blocks down here from City Hall, and most of the people in this building potentially don't even know we exist. In our university, we house the First Nations. University houses Indigenous social work program, Indigenous education, among other programs that are pillars in the community. We spend most of our time helping shelters, raising money, and working with the homeless that are residential school survivors on our street. 2 months ago, we approached the planning committee and we requested, we love that Queen Mary paints gay pride on sidewalks. We'd love to do that for Orange Shirt Day before it was moved over to TRC. How do we make this happen? What kind of paint do we use? What does the city suggest? Please guide us in this effort. We were met with, where do you want to paint? What kind of paint do you want to do? To me, this was unacceptable. We are an organization who are pillars in the community. This day is for us to share education that we have been, for 7 generations prior to us, told to be silenced. My father is a residential survivor. I am the first person to not be taken to the Maryvale School. Studying at the First Nations University means everything to me. After gathering the information and going back to the planning committee and requesting to paint 14th and 13th, and we were blatantly told no, because you had just painted 14th Avenue, that is not correct. You can barely see the crosswalk signs there. After furthering my discussion to Hicks, the director, we were told, fine, you may paint all 4 corners of 13th Street and Central. This has been a total embarrassment. People today, we held ceremony, we held a smudge, we put tobacco down with elders, and we were able to smudge and hold ceremony for a lot of the homeless people in the community who desperately need these changes. I am the reason I wanted to speak at council today, I realize there's not enough time for you to allow me to paint anywhere else in the city, and that's a great disservice. It is unfortunate that Greg Dion was aware of this and wasn't able to step in sooner and help us further our efforts or attend the painting today because he had to pick up somebody at the airport is mud. I was told, I'm not sure, but my point that I'm speaking here today is I would like to create a renewed relationship with the City of Prince Albert, all of the councillors, and I would like your help to create an Elders Council so that we start engaging the First Nations University and the Indigenous social workers rather than setting up fences around buildings where our people desperately need these services. Those are my thoughts today. I would like to carry on the conversation after this meeting so that we can have your guidance to be stronger leaders and create a relationship together. Hi, Nikki.
Okay, I'll ask you to stay at the podium for a minute, see if, before we debate it, to see if anyone has any questions for you. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. And thank you today, Krista, for you and your son coming to present today. And I know you're doing a lot of great work for our community. Yes, I think we should, sit down. If that's what you're asking council to do today, is to sit down with some of the representatives of First Nation University of Canada, then definitely we could do that. I apologize for some of our processes, and sometimes they do seem a little hindering. I'm not sure what took place there, but definitely here to support you today. Are you wanting to do more paintings throughout the city?
It would be really fantastic. Obviously, the point is rather moot now because we might not have the opportunity. And I think just going forward, it shouldn't be up to us to chase someone like Judy McLeod down to demand, can we please have these initiatives that you're doing in the city in front of our school? We would like to match Cumberland Crossing. We'd like to be included when you are seeking PAGC, the Friendship Center, and all of that. So we would like to create those renewed relationships for further partnerships.
Absolutely. So did I hear you got a chance to paint the road on Central here?
We did, yes.
And you're not looking for any more crosswalks, I guess, with the limited time we do have?
If you can make it happen in the next 2 days, I have the paint and the people available. Absolutely.
Well, I could put a motion forward today to support the painting of the crosswalks that, with some correspondence with our Public Works Director, locating some of those crosswalks would be my motion today then. I guess, to support.
You're not going to wait and hear the rest of the debate, so you're just going to move forward?
Sure, no, okay, then if there's some debates here, maybe there will be a motion coming forward.
Thank
By
you.
all means, thank you.
Okay, first of all, it would be prudent, you've made some strong accusations. I have documentation in front of me that you did write us at the start of August. We emailed you back, asking you 6 questions. We did not get a response for 6 weeks.
Correct.
But I'm not going to bring that up, because
we
I don't want to
could.
be confrontational. We have a process in the city, we work well with all the groups, and we do know where the university has, I've been there numerous times. Unfortunately, when I get invited in a short period of time, I do have a busy schedule, I'm booked now, I'm not taking bookings now till the end of October. I had to meet with the new owners of an airline that's coming to our city. So that took precedence, sorry.
I guess that took
But
precedence. Yes, it
That
did.
takes precedence. And I'm going to be honored, I'm actually meeting the new president of the university early in November.
Dr. Ottman, yes,
Yep, so I'm looking forward for that meeting.
for sure.
Okay,
I
so,
would like to add, though, the reason it took 3 weeks is because we were asking for support. And when we're just met with figure it out, you can appreciate, we're not going to go back and beg for the info again. And so what we did is we started to call around to get the information and came back better prepared because Mohammed, either it was a miscommunication, but we weren't being offered the help that we were asking for.
all right. I'll go to Councillor Bodnick and then come back. Councillor Bodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your presentation. I too, I'm taken back by your presentation today a little bit. And I just think that, like, I don't know of any other organization that has been denied, positive messages and positive things. And so I think that like, when the Pride crosswalks came in, I mean, we supported it by Carleton Comprehensive, and we supported by Queen Mary in Councillor Miller's ward. We do support these initiatives and these ideas brought forward to us. And I think it just takes a little bit of patience and just coming to meet us here at City Hall, like you did today. Had that happened in August, you would have had a unanimous vote in favor of painting crosswalks. And so
I
think,
agree. Had the city have offered
Yeah,
that
Up,
to us, we would have.
sorry,
Can I
you
just
can't
finish,
debate
please?
from the
Yeah.
podium.
I'm not here to debate you. So I just am suggesting that, next year, come earlier in May or March, make a presentation that these are the places that you would like painted, and I'm sure our department would work with you. They worked with the arts. I'm trying to think of the Judy McLeod Campbell, who, I mean, has created all these wonderful crosswalks throughout the city. So we're not opposed to it. It takes time. And that's one thing when I first got elected, I couldn't believe how long it takes to get something done in government. It's a process. It's definitely not an event. It's a process. And so we have to be a little bit patient and follow through on the process is just what I wanted to say. So I thank you for bringing that, raising the awareness. I too know where First Nations University is. I work just down the block from First Nations University, and I'm very happy that we do have First Nations and the U of S and University of Regina all in Prince Albert here and South Polytechnic, all these higher learning institutions. So thank you for your presentation. And I don't have a question. I just have maybe some comments to say that bring it forward. I'm sure we'll support it. If it can be done, okay. We'll support it. So okay.
I do want to add though, when someone requests 2 months in advance, like what is the process? I would suggest that maybe for sure, if you want us to ask in May next time, absolutely, we got that covered. However, taking into the onus of the city, there would be a really great opportunity. You've mentioned several stakeholders who make these requests. Maybe we should streamline and have that on the website. What's the process, what it takes, and what are our opportunities going forward? Because it's a missed opportunity now.
Yeah, most people
but
just
we
call
can
their
fix that
counselor.
going forward.
That's usually what happens is I mean, we have delegations here today that have contacted us and asked us. I mean, I respectfully too couldn't make the meeting with the MOGs this morning, or yesterday or today, my schedule's booked up as well with different things that I'm involved in. And so you can't always make these appointments. And hopefully the public understands that. Like you're working, I mean, unbelievable number of hours a week being a counselor, and you
Absolutely.
do
So
have
thank
all
you
of
for
these,
being here today.
these
We
things, and
appreciate
then
your
to
time.
say, to have people not like
She's
us
gonna get cut off.
or make those kinds of comments, I don't think is helping, and I don't appreciate it. The comments against some of my colleagues and some of our staff. I don't like
Okay.
negative comments towards, publicly towards our staff. So thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome. And I agree.
Okay, now before I go to Council Gilmore, I just want to comment. There is some crosswalks I would never support being painted, and strictly because we've gone to a new style paint. It's a rubber paint, and I don't want to damage those crosswalks. Nationally, crosswalks are white. That's a national symbol, so that we have to be careful on where we paint them and how we paint them. And that's why I support outside the school. That was the same thing with St. Mary's in Carleton. That was the right place to do it. But I wouldn't agree to scatter them all over the city strictly because we're investing so much money to make it safe for our children to get to school. So I'll go to Dawn Kilmore.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Councilor
Mayor.
Kilmore.
No worries. Thank you very much for your presentation. I just, as a person in my former position, was very instrumental in getting the crosswalks done at Carleton over the years and going through the processes. So I will admit that part of what drew me to council was working on communication and process. So I do hear you, and yes, process is really necessary, but timing is really necessary as well. We ran into exactly the same thing as what's with you, not the communication part, but short timing. When we first thought, we're going to do these crosswalks, and they're going to be great, and they're going to be the best thing ever. And we then had to wait a year. We learned, and worked with the city, and now it's just a beautiful, it happens seamlessly. So I do have hope for the future for sure. So I would like to make a motion that this correspondence be forwarded to Judy McLeod Campbell, and that she make contact with this group and work with them on how to move forward with their requests.
Could I just clarify, because I'm not sure if you heard that point. I've already contacted Judy McLeod on my own half.
No, I did
and
hear you.
requested permanent crosswalks out front.
I
So-
did hear you.
Okay, good.
Thank you
Just so
very
you
much.
know, we've already. Good.
Yeah, no, I have heard you. Thank you.
Okay, just reiterate what you said. Corresponds before to Judy Campbell to work with this organization in the future. With the future requests. Is that it? Okay, thank you. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. And thank you, Councillor Kilmer, for putting this motion. I think it falls a little short from what I was hoping. Obviously, Krista is here today to ask for our support to paint these crosswalks, and is ready to do so. So, this won't capture kind of my hopes was to have them working on our paint crosswalks tomorrow. But this would imply that it's going to be next year. Is that kind of what the understanding of your motion or the intention of your motion is?
Yes.
Yes, that's my intent.
Next time I won't wait for my motion.
Ask for amendment, and then you can be defeated or passed.
Tara Lennoxup.
Oh, go ahead, Tara.
Thank you very much. I am proposing either an amendment to this motion or a second motion in addition after this motion is completed. I don't think this motion needs to be defeated, but I'm proposing an amendment in the wording that Councillor Head had used earlier this meeting, which I believe was that additional crosswalks be permitted to be painted orange in conjunction with the permission of the Public Works Department.
Okay, but Public Works Department has already assigned them crosswalks that they think they need.
I
So,
think just one. So my motion is to have more than one to be permitted.
okay, where?
I don't know if our guest is able to answer a further question.
Sorry,
We had originally request because when we did go back, we said City Hall would be the most appropriate and it was turned down. So anything on Central to show greater awareness would be fabulous.
okay, thank you. Did you hear the guest?
I did. So that would be the City Hall crosswalk. I'm just trying to think. That would be 11th Street and Central Avenue. Am I
Yep, right
accurate in
across
that?
from us. Yes.
So I'm going to make that either as an amendment or a second motion after Councillor Kilmer's motion is heard.
They want a
that,
second motion because we want to vote on it.
Certainly. Yep.
Okay, so I'll move to vote on this one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I also had a question for the department as well.
Okay, go ahead.
My question to administration is, at our recent meeting, we had a lengthy report regarding Orange Shirt Day. And one of the listed things that we've done is, of course, the city has this new Every Child Matters logo that you see on our t-shirts today. And also the report mentioned a stencil for crosswalk painting of this logo of Every Child Matters. My question to the department is that stencil completed and available for this September 30th crosswalk painting?
I don't think so, but we'll ask the department. Shift.
Yep.
You're up, sir.
Thank you very much for that question. So we don't create those stencils. So I would have to pass that question on to a different department. I'm going to propose that it go to Kylie in communications. But in regards to crosswalks, as the mayor noted, there are colors that are designated for certain things in traffic. White is for crosswalks. So we do have to be cautious on how many of these we do. Orange is construction zone. So I understand the need to do something like this, just like we did with the rainbow. But we have to consider the traffic safety of the city at hand. We can't change every crosswalk to a different color. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go to Carly. You're up.
Thank you. Yeah, I just can confirm that the stencil is available, and there's one, and so it can be loaned out to organizations in front of their facilities. Oh, sorry.
Ben, you pull your mic down and say, you have one stencil available, is that what you
There's
said?
one stencil available, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, just to follow up, would that stencil be able to be provided to First Nations University of Canada for this leading up to September 30th of this year?
It's available upon request, so depending on who else has it booked out kind of thing, but you have to go through Judy.
And could I ask, are you aware of anyone else using that stencil on crosswalks for this year?
I'm not aware of it being used for crosswalks, no.
The report does, just as an informational, the report does mention specifically a stencil for crosswalk use. Another question for the Director of Public Works. What would be the Director's thought on Central Avenue and 11th Street having being painted for Orange Shirt Day for this year?
Thank you for the question. So
Carly.
every request would be reviewed by our department to see if there's any conflicting interests, such as if we're going to just be paving that or digging that, or or if there's already a designated crosswalk there. So for instance, at City Hall, going north-south, both on 10th and 11th, they've already painted white crosswalks with some designs on them. So those intersections already have some design displays included. The original request from this group was, and I'm quoting, "We were thinking of crosswalk lines at Central and 14th and 13th, the corners of our campus, maybe also a crosswalk at City Hall." And from that discussion, we started with, would you like to do all four corners in front of your university? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I just wanted to thank as well our guest, Krista. I appreciate you coming. I really appreciate hearing the Indigenous language spoken in our City Hall. That's very beautiful, and it was excellent to have a representative come and speak today. Those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, we need a seconder for this motion. For seconded? Thank you. You want to kill your mic?
I'm seconding the motion that's in front of us.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? I'll move the question. Ooh, what am I doing? Recall. Changing the crosswalks. Okay, it's now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I would now make my motion.
Just stand by. Okay, go ahead.
That the First Nations University of Canada be permitted and welcomed to paint the crosswalk at 11th Street and Central Avenue for Orange Shirt Day in a form acceptable to the Department of Public Works.
Seconder? Councillor Head?
Thank you, Your Worship. I will second the motion, but I'll also maybe add a suggestion that we also include the four corners of the university as well, if my mover would, the mover of the motion would so be so gracious to put that in there as well as an amendment.
They already had that permission. Am I correct, Public Works? Go ahead.
Thank you very much. That was the intersection that we offered up originally. As soon as a request had been made, we did not deny them access to an intersection, and that intersection has been painted this afternoon. So it's already completed.
Perfect then. Thank you. I'll just second that motion then.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask our guest,
No,
can I just,
she's left the podium and we're on to the motion and debate.
okay, so on this motion, I am, if those are, I guess I could ask Public Works, are all four corners of the university, Quinnipiac University, painted?
Go
Yes,
ahead, sir.
that is my understanding. All four corners were offered, and my understanding is all four corners have been painted this afternoon.
Okay, I appreciate that. So then I'll leave my motion the way it is unless Councillor Head has any other thoughts that I missed. And I would just add that we do have this stencil that is made for crosswalks, and it was in our report at the executive committee. And I think it would be excellent to be able to use that stencil, and that there are individuals at First Nation University of Canada interested in doing the painting. I did add the phrase in a form acceptable to Public Works to make sure that we are, we want to follow safety as was discussed in this meeting. And I'm hopeful that this motion will pass so that First Nation University of Canada can go ahead and do that work. Thank you.
Councillor Bodnar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm being picky here, but I think it should actually say the First Nations University of Canada Student Association, because I don't think the First Nations University of Canada is here being represented and has made any application. So it is the Students Association that is making this application. So we better be very clear on that. And I support the Students Association and the First Nations University in acknowledging and bringing forward the importance of Orange Shirt Day. Are we rushing things? I think perhaps we are for this year. I would definitely support this motion for next year to work with Judy McLeod-Campbell and the department in making sure that we have acknowledgement for September 30th. Yeah, that's all I have to say on this right now. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to prompt, she's got to add the question.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I can just advise that yes, that is a very good point. It's the Students Association that phrasing is good in that motion. And I would note, just to the point of if this is rushing or not, I would note that our guest speaker has stated that there are students who are willing to do the work in time for the 30th. I think that really swayed me, that it can be done. There is paint and people who are interested in doing the work. The other aspect that swayed me is that we have this stencil made for sidewalks. We have one stencil, and it, to our knowledge, has not been used yet. And it would be really great to be able to use that. And I want to thank the Student Association for the work that they've done on the crosswalk so far.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Just another point very quickly. When I say rushed, I mean it also has to get the permission of the department, making sure, as we all agree, we want safety. And so, I'm not opposed to it. I just want to make sure that we follow the proper process, that it does get department approval. And yes, we have, if they were doing it in the afternoon tomorrow, it's going to be 30 out there. It'd be a great time for all of us to be there helping if it had department approval to do. But we have to make sure that the department approves it before we proceed with this here painting. And so that's what it says. It has to have Public Works Department approval. So that's good. That I will support this motion, because we're not only supporting the Students Association, but we're also following proper protocol. I think that Public Works Department has to make sure that this is going to be acceptable for it to happen. And I'm sure they'll do that as quick as possible to get it done in a timely fashion. Thank you.
Well, they have 3 days. And that's why I'm objecting to the process. We've done nothing for anyone else in 3 days. And so I'm undecided whether I'm supporting the motion or not. It's totally because of process. We can't be a knee-jerk council that just jumps on things and demands the department do this when there's safety protocols, there's protocols on procedure, and I wasn't aware the stencil was ready. I thought we had more than them. And we were putting them up. It wasn't matter whether it was Orange Shirt Day or not. The stencils are going on. It doesn't have to be on that day, because it's not an item that I think you should ever forget about. I believe it should always be on top of our mind, our history. So I'll get the clerk to prompt the question.
Mr. Mayor, I'm requesting a recorded vote.
Come, Tara.
As per the procedure bylaw, we are able to request a recorded vote, and the procedure bylaw does state if requested by a counselor that it is required.
Yes, and it's prudent, it's my fault. I was going to remove that from the, bring it to council to have it removed. So I'll do that for the next meeting. Every vote is recorded. That's why we bought this system.
And of course, it would have.
Oh,
to be
I've heard you,
recorded.
Councillor Zepp.
Right, just in the minutes, yeah.
That's where a recorded vote goes to, is in the minutes. So we're doing it twice. Prompted for a recorded vote. Now she's made my mind up.
Okay, so we have a recorded vote for painting the crosswalk on 11th Street and Central Avenue in regards to Orange Shirt Day. Councillor Kilmer. Mayor? Mayor, you have
sorry.
to.
Yes?
Councillor Zurikowski? Councillor Zurikowski?
I'm getting him there.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, my turn?
Yep.
Yes.
Mayor Dion?
No.
Councillor Miller?
Councillor Miller?
Yes.
Councillor Lennox Zepp?
Yes.
Councillor Head?
Yes.
Councillor Cody?
No.
Councillor Grodnick?
Yes.
Councillor Edwards?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you for coming to speak. You could, I'll probably ask you, you must well go with your child. They'll get a little nervous because we'll be quite a while in our meeting. And thank you. Finish it.
He's just letting.
Just wait, we'll let them come in. Is this who, the other speaker? That's the other speaker. Yeah, that's the other speaker. Okay. 5.2, 15th Street Business. 5.2, Letters of Concern. So we have 3 speakers. I see our third speaker has arrived. Do you? Okay. So first we have the owners of Jimmy Java. Dr. Java. If they'd like to go to the podium. And you all have 5 minutes to make your presentation. Oop, just hang on. I made everyone live, so I gotta kill them all. I can still delete it. No, you don't know that. I've got the screen. No, Councilor Zura, like.
Hello,
Fast.
my name is Chad Mogg, and this is my wife Brandy Mogg. We are the owners of Dr. Java's Coffee House. And first, I would like to begin and thank everyone here, including Public Works, for their time and effort to find a suitable solution to the problem at hand. We feel the proposed design of an entrance and exit point at 463 15th Street East is the best suited option. We believe that this option gives all businesses on the south side of 15th Street that have been affected by the new street design a fair and adequate solution.
So I just want to take a moment to touch on a few reasons why this access is necessary for our particular business. So the restriction of the access to our business has resulted in a significant loss of sales. Of course, we have seen a decrease in sales from construction, which we understand is part of that process. However, what we are concerned with is the loss of sales not from construction, but from the limited access. And over this last week and a half, with construction having been completed and done, we have continued to see the same decrease, actually more of a decrease in sales than there was with construction. So currently observed, we've seen this expected loss of sales, and that's precisely the reason why we can't afford a wait-and-see period, which has been proposed and thankfully defeated at past council meetings. Given the time of the year that we're in, even a 1-month trial would put us beyond the season of being able to make any changes to the current design of traffic flow on 15th Street East until the spring or summer of 2022. How would the city continue to operate if it took a 35% decrease in its income? Would it survive for 7 months? Given that we've had a really difficult year and a half with a pandemic, and we're now coming into a 4th wave, we're nervous and doubtful that our business would be able to absorb any further losses, such as the losses that we've seen and expect to see from the restricted access. While we are thankful for our loyal clientele that will always find a way to get to us, the reality is that the vast majority of our business is impulse buyers. And if customers cannot conveniently and easily access our business, they simply won't. They'll instead purchase their food and beverage somewhere else at a more accessible location, such as Tim Hortons or Starbucks. In addition, when the future development of the north side of 15th Street occurs, there's a high likelihood that another restaurant or coffee shop will be on that side. And the fact that the north side has a convenient access via the lights at PV Mart automatically puts our business and other businesses on the south side at a disadvantage. The majority of people will go to the location that's easiest and the most convenient to get to. It's unfair for long-existing tax-paying businesses on the south side of 15th Street to be put at a disadvantage by the city's alterations to street design, resulting in a loss of fair and equal access. While we are excited for the opening of PV Mart and the traffic with which it will bring, it is important to note that no matter how many vehicles are present on 15th Street, if they can't have easy and accessible access to us, they're not customers of ours.
In closing, I would like to thank council for their time and consideration on this matter. As a small locally owned business, we want to see Prince Albert succeed and grow, and we look forward to remaining an active part of this community for years to come. Thank you.
Okay, did she mention that there's another coffee shop opening across the street? That I hadn't heard that.
I said that there's a great potential that another restaurant or
Oh.
coffee shop could open in the future development. Not that there is, but that there is the potential there, just as there is the potential for another oil change place to open up or another gas station.
Yep. Okay, any questions of these two guests? No? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
The next guest is Tom, on behalf of Great Canadian Oil Change. Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah, my name's Tom McKay, and I am the owner of Great Canadian Oil Change on 15th Street there. And I will not go into my long rant that I had planned for tonight, but I do want to ask a question if am I allowed to ask questions of Mr. Hicks or?
No, you can't.
No?
You're addressing council, not our
Okay.
staff.
Okay, so I will.
You can
put
direct them to me, and then I can
Yeah.
ask.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I had said last time that you had talked, we had talked to you back in April in Chambers, and you had said that you had traffic counts on 15th. I'd like to know what the projected traffic counts are going to be after PV Mart opens. PV Mart is a big box store, but are you expecting 100 cars more, 200 cars more, 500 cars more per day on 15th Street to justify such a drastic change to the traffic flow? I will say, same as Dr. Javis, right now we are down 20% on our car counts. And that is I do agree with you on one thing. Our repeat customers will find us, will find us. But right now, we operate on a 65 to 70% repeat business. So that's 30% more new customers per day that are coming from out of town that will not find us because of the new traffic patterns. So that, you know, we had asked last time too, what the need for the lights were, what were the safety issues before PV Mart said they would come down. Because I know last time, a few of the councillors had said that they made that vote in haste and that they would not vote for it again if it were to come up. Another question I have is, we were also told that the lights had to go where they were because of the Fourth Avenue extension. That has since been fenced off, so I would like to know what the real reason was why those lights had to go there. They could have gone down farther on the other side of PV Mart at, say, 3rd Avenue, because that street also runs down there. Comes right up beside Farm Credit there. Back in 2010, when Great Canadian bought the property, the traffic flows, and this is where I'm hoping I have my numbers right. Traffic flows in 2010 were 25,000 on 15th Street and 40,000 on 2nd Avenue. 2nd Avenue has seen 2 lights taken out, so the traffic flows better. And they use the same system that we had down on 15th. So now I'm told that traffic flows on 15th are 28,000. So an increase of 3,000 cars over 11 years. Still, we did not have any traffic lights or anything like that, or a meridian separating or keeping people from turning into our business until PV Mart decided they wanted to move down there. I will yield. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it
Thank
very
you.
much.
And I'll get the director to turn on the light so I can ask him some questions. Okay. When it comes to traffic counts, we haven't done any since we put the new asphalt down, but the traffic counts before that, can you just confirm that what they were?
28,828 vehicles per day on average. That was the last traffic count that we did for that section of roadway, which
Okay.
was the highest in the city.
Yeah, 2nd Avenue, I've never heard 40,000 in any street.
We have no record of ever hitting 40,000 on 2nd Avenue. The highest count we've ever received was when we counted all the long weekends on the Diefenbaker Bridge, and we peaked at 30,000 on some weekends. But that was it. On 2nd Avenue at the top of the hill, depending on the block, it's between 22 or 20 to 22 to I think maybe 24,000 a day.
Okay, and the lights went there because of the design of the developer.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So just wait a minute, Tom. So what happened is the developer picked the street, drew the street within his property so he could develop the other parcels. So that's how the street ended up there. Okay, thank you. Okay, is Diane here? Oh, yep. If you could identify who you are and what business you're with, and then you have 5 minutes. And welcome.
Hello, my name is Diane Lavoie, and I'm the owner of our Little Secret Boutique in that mess that we have. And I also own, with my son Justin Lavoie, we also own Truck Outfitters. Now, I'm just going to read my letter that I sent in, and I also added a little bit of that today. Our Little Secret Boutique is requesting an opening being made in front of 463 15th Street East that allows traffic traveling both east and west to enter the parking lot, as well as vehicles leaving the parking lot to travel both directions. The reason why being that the restriction of access to our businesses result in a significant loss of sales. My business is down 38%. Truck Outfitters is down 42.8%. For locally owned businesses, that is a lot. It does not matter how many cars are present on 15th Street or how many cars PV Mart will bring. If they cannot access our businesses in a convenient way, they will not visit us at all. Just as Mayor admitted to doing so, he avoided this area, so have many customers. As a vast majority of our businesses are based on impulse buying, and if we do not have an access point to our businesses, then we lose those sales. Again, as our mayor pointed out, he also avoided this street altogether. Therefore, no impulse buying to our businesses. Also, when the future development on the north side of the 15th Street East occurs, there is a high likeliness that another shop like ours, whether exactly or near to, will be present. The fact that the north side of the 15th Street East has all the conveniences and easy access via the lights for PV Mart. It will automatically hurt comparable businesses on the south side. People will go there due to it being more convenient and faster, leaving businesses on the south side at a disadvantage. Over the period of this construction, I have had customers email, phone, and message our business asking how to access us. Some customers literally gave up due to it being too confusing to get here. I know this because they have called to the store and said they could not get to us. Customers are willing to sign a petition to have this meridian removed. That alone should speak volumes. This meridian that gives us no access to our businesses has hurt us. I have also seen the decline in our percentages over the last few months. We are now coming into the, dare I say, Christmas season. I do not want to lose our only season that will hold us through the bad months ahead. 463 15th Street needs to have the same and equal opportunity on the south side of the street as it is on the north side of the street. We need equal access, just as PV Mart. It is overwhelming to pour your heart and soul into a business, build it up, have great customer rapport, only to have your mayor say, let's wait and see. We have been hit with COVID, trying to survive through that. Why would our city throw obstacles in front of our businesses? The city should be helping us small businesses grow and succeed, not telling us to wait and see. I don't know any business a small business that can wait and see. Today, September 21st, our customer, tried to use the U-turn that was provided. While using the U-turn, the customer did not have enough room to use it, hit the curb, causing damage to his SUV. This customer will not be using that U-turn that was provided. In fact, they probably won't be a customer any longer due to the restricted access. Now, reviewing the new plans, I sit here and I wonder, why does no one follow direction? In the last meeting, a councillor was asked point blank to give an address where they wanted the meridian removed, so the project manager and Public Works could appease us with a new plan. The new plan shows not only where the councillor asked, but also 2 other options. In my opinion, this is just further to confuse and misdirect people. Let's just get on with this, fix the mistake that was made, remove the meridian, and give customers access to our businesses. No more wait and see. I thank you very much for hearing me, and I hope that you guys do the right thing for our businesses.
Thank you. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I want to thank all the small business owners today who are present. And definitely thank you for your presentation.
Do you have a question?
No, I don't. I have a comment and a motion to make.
Okay, do you have a question? Can you just sit back and I'll come back to you? I won't let anyone make a motion. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you. So thank you for your presentation. Diane, I wonder if I can get you to go to the podium. I have a question for you. I'm just curious, with your time that's been in that location, what's the sort of size of the delivery trucks that you've seen go through that parking lot, either to your business or to the adjacent businesses in that area?
My business and Truck Outfitters, like both businesses, we have semis coming in. We have 3 tons, 5 tons, 1 tons. And due to the construction, it has been very hard. Some of our deliveries have been delayed, which therefore our products get delayed.
So, I'm sorry, did I miss the size of the semi? I'm just trying to get
Yeah,
an
we
idea.
do. We do get a
43
semi.
feet, 53 feet, what's,
Super Bs.
okay, gotcha,
Like,
yeah.
big.
2 trailers, yeah.
Sorry.
Tough to back up in those. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I would like to make a motion, but I know Councillor Head has
Yes.
spoken head, so.
Yeah,
If
I
I
did
might
say I forgot
add,
to
right
tell him.
now, they have to come through a private access from, that Fifth Avenue, because everything's been closed.
Yeah.
And there's been almost, I don't know how many accidents right in front of the store because they're having to access that way.
Yeah, I was certainly, I see the recommendation in front of us, and I'm certainly confused because the motion made at our last meeting was asking the administration to come back with a plan that opened up that meridian directly in front of, I'll say it again, 463 15th Street East. That was what was asked for, and I was expecting to see some other portion of the report that, and frankly, the report was a little confusing. And I see in front of us 2 recommendations that were not asked for, that were identified as options to consider and not favored by administration. So I'm a little confused by what we're looking at in front of us. I will yield to my colleague with the hope that council realizes that this is administration's recommendation that has changed apparently since the information came out.
Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. So, yeah, I'd like to make the motion, not what we see up on the board here, but I would want to see that we install a median opening at 463.
Can you go a little slower? She's got to type as you talk.
We, as in the city, install a median opening at 463 15th Street East, as per the request of our residents here. 15th Street East. Thank you.
Is that medium to be built to allow left and right turns? Like I do business in that grouping of businesses all the time, and I have a hard time going left when I'm coming out of there to head west. And so then they're gonna have to go across these 3 lanes and turn left. So I just want to confirm that you want it for both ways. Oh, thank you. You're back.
Thank you. No, I'm going off the report that we see in front of us, put forward by administration. So they've given us 3 options within this report. Option 1 is the one I'm looking at, and one that we've heard is the hopes for the small business owner. So that's the motion that put it forward based on the report that's in front of us here.
Thank you. Seconder?
I'll second that motion, Your Worship. I'd like to speak to it if I may.
Go ahead.
I think it's just time to move forward, time to move on, get this done, neat and clean, get in there and get out before the snow falls. We can talk about related concerns, we can talk about other issues, we can talk about our other worries, but it's taken us long enough to get here. Let's get this decision made, and then when you borrow your uncle's truck and try and make that U-turn, you have issues pulling the trailer, we can talk about that at some point as well. But let's get this decision made, let's get it done so we can get the work done.
Councillor Edwards?
Thank you, Your Worship. Couple of things. I do support the motion. I also think we should keep the U-turn. I think it should be in there, and we should spend the $200 and put a sign up, because some people may not feel comfortable to come across that, but they can go down to the U-turn. But I also want to make sure that the access is there good enough for the big semis that we see coming and going and the delivery trucks. Like, it just can't be Mickey Mouse that they're going to drive over these curbs all the time. So hopefully it's done in order for those vehicles to access and come and go as they need to. I have one concern is the Great Canadian Oil Change. We've allowed a back access to their business. I'm hopeful that that's going to remain in place. I guess that's a question for the director, because if it doesn't, it's troublesome for their business.
Well, yeah, it's sitting on private property. No, it was.
Thank you. We created that as a temporary access between the Great Canadian Oil Lines and their neighbor so that they would have access during construction. But that is between two private property owners. The intent originally was to remove that. It would be up to those private owners if they wanted to keep it, not the city. We don't have any say in that.
So I'm thankful that we provided that access. I hope that the city can encourage these businesses to keep it open, because Great Canadian Oil Change also had an access and we cut it off. And I'm really disappointed. As all the good work that Public Works does in the city, I get it. But I'm really disappointed in this project, Your Worship. We're supposed to be open for business. We're supposed to be caring about our local businesses. And this, to me, just shut them out. And I look at some of the things that we use, and I've heard it a couple of times, the TAC, the Transportation Association of Canada guideline. It says that right in our report. It's a guideline. And I think we took it as a Bible on this one. And to me, we failed the businesses. And it's aggravating that we put small businesses through this. And then come back with a report that really wasn't what we asked for. And that to me is disappointing. We've got it up here now, but again, we use this, or it appears that we use this TAC as it. That's how we're going. That's what we're doing, because the TAC says it. And I think the wording last time, sometimes common sense and practicality needs to come into play. What's good for our city needs to be cared for. We need to pay attention to that. So I do want to see the U-turn in there. I think that should be part of the motion. Otherwise, we're not going to see it.
Isn't it in there now?
The U-turn is there now, but it's part of adding a sign. I don't know whether the U-turn is going to stay open.
Yes.
Do we know that?
Yes.
Yes? Is the U-turn planned? No, I'm talking the one by Superstore. That U-turn.
New one. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Go ahead,
For the
Director.
question, that was the low-cost option.
Yeah.
If you didn't want to spend any money this year, for $200, you could put in U-turns there. But the report cautions that also is not a safe option. But our mandate was to bring you options, and we did.
I'm thankful for the options. I do think the U-turn, I don't see it much different than 6th in front of Dairy Queen. I just hope we can get it a little bit better than what we did. I do have something else, but I got to sit on it because I don't remember. Thanks.
You want to finish? Go ahead.
Oh, okay, you gotta kill your light now. Hang on, I gotta shift him up.
No, I'm not going to get mad. What I am going to suggest too, though, is this 90,000 doesn't come out. I think it should come out of the Public Works budget.
That's where it comes out of.
This isn't something that needs to be added next year to the budget. It needs to be taken out of a budget that's there. Whatever excess is there, it needs to be coming out of that budget.
That's where it comes out of. Doesn't come out of community services, it comes out of public works budget. Okay, you done? It's insurance, so we followed common accounting standards. Councillor Bodnick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to support this motion as well, and you know, I was disappointed in the report. However, again, I'm going to say it, like, we created this problem by putting lights in at 4th Avenue against the recommendation of our director. Our director said, don't do it. They didn't want us to do it, we did it. And this is what we created. And we are to blame. I am to blame for voting in favor of putting lights in at 4th Avenue. I wish we could actually make a normal intersection at 4th Avenue, and if we could purchase the land south of 15th Street, that private land, and make an access and have a normal intersection. These zipping in and zipping out and all that, to me that is a little, as an older person, that's a little scary for me right now to be driving in that area. And I think it will be for other people, but we created it, and now we have to fix it, and our suggestion is doing exactly what we did on 6th Avenue, is creating an opening. 6th Avenue, I know it was mentioned by a lot of the small business owners, you know, that we did that. It's scary there too, when you're driving there, and you don't know if that person's gonna turn into the brew house or into Dairy Queen, or are turning on 13th Street. There's three, when they start signaling, you don't know where they're turning and when they're gonna stop when they're in front of you. Just right now, I got cut, like coming to council today, I go down 6th Avenue, turn on 13th Street, I got cut off and just about hit the vehicle in front of me, turning into Dairy Queen. So this is gonna be, it's gonna be a dangerous.
Yes.
It is going to be dangerous, and the director has told us that these contact points, or whatever he uses that terminology, we've created some dangerous points there. But we have to get it right, and this is a start to get it right, and then hopefully we could just make some normal intersections, 4th Avenue, 5th Avenue, and then get back to, you know, supporting our small businesses, which we're not trying to harm our small businesses, but you've pointed it out that it has affected you, this thing that we created, and hopefully this will help and business will be back, and we don't want small businesses to suffer. The big box stores are going to be successful regardless of what happens. It's the small businesses that are very vulnerable to everything that happens, and so we have to get it right. And I've said that to the number of people that have contacted me, that we have to get this right, and so I will support this opening. Thank you.
Councillor Jarkowski.
It's interesting, the issue about the U-turn sign. I've been making an effort to go through that area the last couple of weeks, whether it be morning, lunch, or after work. And I've been taking that U-turn in front of Exclusive Auto, assuming it was already an existing U-turn, and it worked quite well. And I thought it worked better than the other one on the west side. So my bad, I guess. So, you know, if we need a sign up there, and I think, I wonder if the mover would agree to making sure that it is in the motion, so that intersection isn't closed up or something else happens to that we leave it as existing and we add a U-turn sign there, which apparently I guess we need for people to do a legal U-turn. So I wonder if the mover would.
He's getting ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to shut down, I'll give him the floor. We'll keep everybody alive? You can. Yeah, we can. I don't. Well, I want one person speaking at a time. Shut the podium off. Yeah, shut the podium off. Stop. Podium's dead.
Hey, 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 hey.
Go ahead, you're all live.
Thank you, and I definitely appreciate the comments and suggestions from councilors across the floor. Yes, I would be willing to put that into the motion to install U-turn access in front of exclusive auto marine.
Thank you. I'll support that as the seconder of the motion. Really, in fact, the long to medium-term solution is taking a look at that privately owned land that is directly to the west of the oil change business and see what we can do with that. So I'm going to add a motion to this that the city communicate with a private landowner directly west of the oil change, which happens to be a rail line. I'm not going to name it. And we start the conversation about access to that, or whatever that means, at some point in the future. So that the city initiate discussions with the rail line.
Well, it's not his motion. Back that out.
And I wonder if the,
Can we do a separate motion for that?
Yeah, we could.
I wonder if the mover would agree to that. I can make it later, or we can tie it in one package. I think this is, Councillor O'Gronick made a really good point. This is the start of getting it right. I don't think this is the end of the journey.
Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. And yes, I do agree that those conversations should have been had already, but definitely added into this motion to ensure that we're reaching out and making the best decisions for the residents of Prince Albert.
Thank you. So what I heard a few things here today
Could you
on
just
the
hold
journey
till
together.
we get the motion up, please?
Yeah,
What is it now?
that the city communicate with the private rail line with the goal of gaining access.
For a service road. Is that what you're proposing? Access for a service road.
Gaining access to 4th Avenue. Service road, intersection, whatever it is, access, what I think is part of the long-term solution. Access to 4th Avenue, period. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Head. Good, thank you. So so what I've heard here is this, to make this happen, it's going to come out of existing budgets, which is great. No additional cost to the taxpayers. The money's in the budget already. Question to administration, please, either to the director or city manager. What would the timeline be in order to make this happen?
Shut your light off, Ted. Shut your light off, please.
I may not be finished, Your Worship.
Go ahead, Director.
Thank you. I'd like to pass this over to the manager of capital projects, because we would have to do some scheduling here, and something would have to slide.
Okay. All right. I got everyone's lights on. Go ahead, please.
Thank you for the question. There are currently 2 other projects that have concrete and paving that would be utilizing the same concrete crew, that being Agnew.
No,
And-
please don't mention the projects,
Okay.
because then everybody's going to look at their own little pet projects, and we're going to
One
lose
already
that
did.
global interest of the city, and we're all going to be thinking about our own areas, which is never a good thing.
Okay.
So,
Due-
don't mention the projects.
due
What's
to
our
ti-
timeline?
So after you've done the 2, is there time for 3?
No, the question isn't after. The question is, if this passes, which is clearly a priority of council, what's the timeline in order to make it happen?
I don't know what you mean either. You can't have it both ways. She said she has 2 projects in the queue now. This motion doesn't say stop those 2 queues and do this. So is that what you're asking? Because then if you do, you have to put it in as a motion, because then that's going to give direction that you're to stop the 2 projects that's already approved, which we know which is one, to allow this one to jump the queue.
That's not what I'm saying. I think that's Public Works operational decision for them. So whatever they have on the to-do list, understanding this has been a 2-month conversation for us, if this passes, what is the approximate timeline to make that happen? And I'm not saying jump to queue, that's up to them.
Okay. Do you understand the question?
Yes, I understand the question. Hearing from council and the need to get this completed this construction season, we would do what it takes to have it completed, which may result in other projects not being able to be completed. The only reason I brought that up is that there are some that have open roadways, and we had been instructed in previous years to always ensure that roadways are fully paved
Yes.
before the winter happens, so we would be going against what's been instructed to us in the
For
past.
sure. Thank you for that. The answer I didn't hear was it's gonna have to wait till next year, so that's great. And I take it at Public Works, you're very good at what Public Works does, and what you do, thank you for that. And I think we'll be able to get this done with some Herculean effort, so thank you for that.
Well, it's also based on weather. You know, she may not even get the 2 that she has in the queue done if the weather turns on us.
I think that's an operational decision, we'll leave it up to the experts.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, after shut her off. Stop. Okay, before I call the vote, I'm staying neutral on this strictly because I do business down there. I sit there. It is going to be a very, very dangerous intersection, especially once we get the lines painted. Today, I had to move locations. I was parked in front of the coffee shop, but then it filled up for lunch, so I moved over. And once those lines get painted, the traffic's been a little hesitant because the lines haven't been painted. That was going to be my next question. Because once they get painted, the traffic will really pick up in speed, because then they'll know which lane there are, and it narrows there. But I travel that road all the time, to the point that I quit trying to go west, because I just couldn't do it, with the traffic coming from the east towards me and going the other way. So then I just learned to go a different way. But I did sit there for the last couple, and it's going to be a very, very dangerous intersection, especially once we get the lines in and people know what lane they're in. They'll even pick up more speed than they were going. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a question. You said that you're abstaining from this vote. Does that count as a no then? Is that what it, by default?
No, I'll vote when it gets to my turn to vote. Thank you. It will be a no, because when you abstain, it's automatic no.
Tara Lennox up here for the queue.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Question for administration. We've heard a little bit about the timeline. My question is more about budget finances. I understand from this report that if this motion goes ahead, it would be approximately $90,000 cost for item 1 on the motion. And I'm wondering if this motion passes, and I understand we would be using the existing budget of the Public Works Department. Does that mean that there are there's some work, approximately $90,000 worth of work, that would then not proceed in this budget?
Go ahead, Director.
Thank you for the question. So with any change during the fiscal year, if something gets added or something gets deleted, it just becomes part of the overall paving budget. If we go beyond the paving budget, then it goes to the fiscal stabilization. I know that one councillor wished that it would just come from our Public Works administration, but that's a punitive thing that we don't have control over. Like, we don't have $90,000 in extra, like, salary or supplies. So if that's what you were suggesting, but I don't know, that's what it seemed like. But we have, it would come out of paving. So if we come up under on budget, it would be inside the budget. If we come up over budget, then it goes to fiscal stabilization like it does in every single year.
So just to clarify, what I've heard you say is that you're not expecting to be unable to complete any other projects that you have planned under this current budget. However, if you go over budget for this year, then it would go, the fees for that would go from fiscal stabilization.
That is correct.
Okay, and then another question for the director. I see in our previous report on this topic that we were provided with 4 options, and on each option we were given a picture with some, there was green, yellow, and red, and a legend to explain full stop locations and yield locations, and it stated a certain number of point of vehicular conflict. Just wondering, why is it that we did not have a legend showing how many points of vehicular conflict for this suggestion of removing a piece of the meridian?
So these options that you see before you today are very similar to option 3 that was from the last week's report. So basically, you're going to have at least as many vehicular conflict points as option 3, which was 27. So it's not going to be less than that. It could be more, but we're on a very limited time frame here, going from Monday to Monday. So we were unable to do that with the staff that we have.
Okay, but similar to option 3, you say?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Those were my questions. I wanted to also thank the guests who have come to the podium today. I had an opportunity to speak to the Mogs as well, and I really do respect and appreciate that you've come here today and provided us with the very, very valuable information. I'm hopeful that our city in the future can improve on our consultation with businesses and talking with the stakeholders before we act, and I'm hopeful for the future for that. I am concerned about the safety when you read the report and discuss the topics of the transportation safety guidelines. However, it's also obviously important to these businesses, and we very much want these local businesses to thrive. So I would say this is a very difficult topic for me. For me personally, I did vote against the PV Mart lights installation, and you may recall that report did state concerns about the transportation safety guidelines, and so I am concerned about safety once again, similarly on this topic. Thank you.
Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you. Just, when we talk about finding that 90,000, I think it's there. To be honest, I don't know the exact numbers, but we've already canceled 2 projects from this year that we had budgeted for and carried them over to next year, and that is 2 blocks of Stewart from south of Brannion to Eastwood. That got delayed for a year. That's 2 blocks of paving, milling, repaving, and concrete sidewalks being replaced there, and also Cullinair got moved from this year to next year's budget, so that's another block. So that's 3 blocks. That I don't know if 3 blocks is $90,000 or what it is, but we should have been able to save money there by postponing it to the next year of construction. So I think the money's there. I don't think we're going to have to worry about fiscal stabilization or anything. The money should be there for sure for paving. Concrete, I don't know, and I think we're removing concrete, not adding concrete, so that's a good thing, removing concrete in the middle of streets and putting them on the sides of streets for pedestrians. So I think the money's there. I just needed to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to be very, very clear, I certainly didn't say take this out of salaries. I didn't talk about punitive. There was no way I talked about that, but I did talk about the actual budget of Public Works, but never did I mention punitive directly towards salaries.
No. Well, and at the end of the day, even though budget it must be at mind when you add something like this, it is going to affect the department, but that doesn't say that some of the other departments in the city will come in over budget. They might come in under budget. So far we're only projecting a $200,000 loss, and I'm going to project a solution to that during our motion. So it's all on how you manage. So it's the will. If you got the will to manage, it can happen. So with that, I'm going to prompt the question. Do I have to? It's in there? Counselor Zapp?
No.
Thank you. Sorry, it's already closed and accepted. Okay, so we'll move on now to thank you, folks. If you'd like to depart, I'll just hold up the meeting for a minute to give you an opportunity to depart. Thank you for coming and good luck in the future. Okay. Number 10, communications, we have none. Number 11, reports of administration. 11.1, Cook Municipal Golf Course sponsorship agreements. Councillor Cody.
This is a lot of talking. I agree with the administration, and I move that the Cook Municipal Golf Course sponsorship agreement between the city and Lakeland Co-op in the amount of $5,000 per year for 5 years from January 1st, 2022 to December the 31st, 2026 be approved. Number 2, that the Cook Municipal Golf Course sponsorship agreement between the city and Prism Holdings Limited Raleigh Motor Group in the amount of $5,000 per year for 5 years from January 1st to 2022, December 31st, 2026 be approved. And that the Cook Municipal Golf Course sponsorship agreement between the city and Western First Nations Hospitality LP, Super 8, Prince Albert, in the amount of $5,000 per year for 1 year from January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022 be approved, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreements on behalf of the city once prepared.
Thank you. Councillor Bodnick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll second that motion.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll prompt the... Oop, sorry. You're okay? I love our friendships. Beat up everybody. Councillor Zapp?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. 11.2, 2001 Recreation Facility Grant Program. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. Read the report, and I'll be happy to move that East End Community Club received $1,980.64 for the removal and installation of a new main door at the East End Community Hall and for the removal of the installation of plywood to the curling rink walls. And 2, that Small World Daycare received $5,000 for removal and replacement of trees and fencing around East End Community Hall.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Kilmer.
I'm pleased to second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll prompt the question. Councillor Zapp?
Yes.
I got it. Motion carries. 11.3, Annex of 48th Street East. Maybe I'll ask the director to add some comments so that we can encourage a vote. Go ahead, Director.
Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity. Yes, just to clarify, this is a request from the arm of Prince Albert to annex 48th Street on the southern boundaries of the city of Prince Albert. They have a number of residents that utilize that road, and they feel that they've got access to some federal and or provincial funds to bring that road up to a more acceptable standard, including paving. I don't believe we've got any plans as a city to pave that road in the short term. I think it certainly is worth pursuing. I know we do have our roadways manager if you want some more details of the state of that road and what the future lies ahead for that road. But I can tell you that tonight, with approving this recommendation, all we are doing is allowing the process to move ahead. We still have we still need to enter into an agreement, which needs to come before council. So this will not be the last you see of this item.
Okay, so all you're asking is that you move it forward so you can discuss agreement with other interests and our interests with the RM.
That is correct.
Thank you. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. Okay. Well, I know we've had a lot of discussion about this, so I'm going to move this recommendation, this motion that there is proposed annexation initiated by the rural municipality of Prince Albert number 461 as proposed in COR 2182 be supported, and that administration meet with the rural municipality of Prince Albert number 461 to negotiate terms of annexation agreement. And I guess I have a question if I get a second.
Thank you. Councillor Gilmer.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion, Councillor Zirikowski.
Well, I think, Mr. Mayor, that this is an example of where we can turn an issue into a positive relationship with our neighbors. I think this is an issue where we can talk to neighbors. There's a need there. It's a priority for them. It costs us nothing. It improves the lives of our community beyond our borders and within our borders that use that area. So I think, in my view, this is a win-win moving forward. I think this is an opportunity to expand on that positive relationship and the opportunities of positive relationship on issues with our neighbors in the RM that hopefully we can continue talking about in order to make both the city of Prince Albert and our neighboring RM positive moving forward as we grow and look for other economic opportunities.
Very good statement. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I'm going to echo my colleagues' words in the spirit of building positive relationships. I'm going to support this motion. And I think this is what they want to do, is just build the road. I mean, in talking to the Reeve, if there's no other plans other than to build the road, make it better, make it safer for their people. And I'm going to take that at face value.
Councillor Bodnick.
Thank you. I have a little bit of a different opinion than my colleagues to the left here. Yeah, we want build positive relationships, but man, a couple months ago, where were they when it came to Marion Aquatics? No. You know, they weren't gonna, they didn't want to give money to that. Where have they been with our public library? Where have they been with all of our facilities in Prince Albert? You know, if they want to know what it's like to pay for something and not own it, build that road for us. That would be great. That'd be great relationships. Build the road. Why annex it? Why would we give up a road in Prince Albert, in the city of Prince Albert, within our jurisdiction to an RM? Let them build it. Let them repair it. Let them know what it means to spend money on city residents, so city residents can use it and benefit from it. You know, like I think enough is enough. And if our RMs really truly want to build, you know, positive relationships and a spirit of cooperation, then let's do this. Not just pick and choose what we want to build positive relationships on. It has to be on our city then, and our area, and our region. That's what it should be on, not just specific projects that favor them. So I'm going to vote no to this motion.
Councillor Cody. Order. Councillor Cody has the floor.
If these masks were around, you'd be really laughing now. You know, Your Worship, I can't support this. I just can't. It is the first time that since I've been around, and I've been around a while, that I have seen where a rural municipality takes in city land. That hardly ever happens, if it ever happens. Normally speaking, the cities or the towns, the communities, take over because they want to build something for their city. You tell me that this is just a road because they want to build a road, because they're going to get some funds from the federal government or provincial government, and at the same time, you go south of this city and you look at the graders that's going down there. Look at the bush that's been taken down. Look at what they talked about the bridge we're going to build. You mean to tell me they're not going to butt right up against the city of Prince Albert and butt up against our businesses and try and take our business into their community? Absolutely they are. Absolutely they are. That is not the spirit of cooperation I look at. It simply is not. I believe we should have a spirit of cooperation with our rural municipalities. I mean, we're all the same people. We're close. We're in a community. But at the same time, I think my colleague said it best. Where have they been when it comes to paying their fair share to all of these other facilities, i.e., I think these two gentlemen here met with them, and I don't know what they come up with, but I doubt whether they come up with a lot of money, and maybe we should say, hey, there's just a little bit of a poke we got to give you to help you out the next time we come with our hand out for a facility that your people use. So I can't support this at all. I think it's the wrong way. It's the wrong way to do business, and as a result, I think we're going in the wrong direction. I recognize what the planning department and development department are up against with regards to the annexation of outed buyers. But that land is already destined to be doing something. We want to build a road. We want to do other things. Here, they won't tell us what they're going to do. Come clear, come clean, and then maybe we consider it.
Okay, any other discussion?
Tara Lennox up.
Go ahead.
I have a question for the director. I presume that if this motion passes, that we, the city, would be potentially losing some potential property tax funds. Is that accurate?
No. Go ahead, Director.
Thank you, Councillor Lennox, for the great question. You are right. We would potentially be losing some funds. However, do keep in mind that the road is vested in the name of the province, Ministry of Highways, and the substance of those types of considerations would be within an agreement, which would be brought forward to City Council for consideration, and certainly vetted through our solicitor's office as well.
So just to clarify, the annexation proposed, it's not just the roadway, but it would also include properties along that roadway.
Thank you for the question. Yes, thank you for the question. To clarify, it is only the roadway that is being considered, no adjacent properties.
So then no loss of property taxation then?
Yes, I misspoke. Again, that would be vetted through our solicitor's office and our financial division as well. But you are correct, no loss of taxation revenue.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Nope. Okay. I'm prompting the question. Okay, it is now open. Councillor Zepp?
No.
Motion is defeated. Okay, 11.4, tax title lands. Okay. What? Oh. Yeah. I'm not on, no, it's not on the motion. Okay. You're going to move number 11.4? Sorry. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. That the following tax land titles be offered for sale for a public tender: 950 18th Street West, 951 17th Street West. That should the city receive no suitable offers for the properties being transferred to the dollar lots and as a part of the tax title land inventory to be sold on the first come, first basis, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the sale agreement, transferred, authorized, and other documents permitted to sell on behalf of the city once prepared.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Kilmer.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'm prompting the question. The question is open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. 11.5, 2022 Executive Committee and City Council meeting schedule. Councillor Miller.
That the 2022 Budget Committee meetings, Executive Committee meeting, and City Council meeting scheduled be approved. That the July 2022 and August 2022 Executive meeting and Council meetings be scheduled for 2 p.m.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Cody.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Your Worship. I do have one concern, and maybe I shouldn't, but February 14th.
What is that? What is that?
Sometimes it's the only time anybody goes on a date.
Oh, God. What's that, Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So just a concern there, not sure if we can move that day or not, whether
It's-
we,
Is it a holiday though?
No, February 14th is Valentine's Day.
So we can move it to the 15th if
I don't know whether we want to do that or not, I just thought I'd throw that out for concern.
you. Okay, thank you. Councillor Miller?
Yes, that's fine.
You okay with skipping Valentine's? Is that what you said?
I want to be here.
She's been married for 16 years? There we go. Corporate memory. Councillor Zarakowski, you have your light on?
Thank you. I just wanted to check, this was on our desks before the meeting.
Yes.
Not in our package, so have there been any changes to this or just additions? Okay.
No, there are no changes. The only changes will be made if council, as we get closer.
The budget committee dates.
And the budget committee dates. It's just more for administration.
Thank you.
Okay, back to Councillor Miller.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Dion. So I realize that Executive Council and City Council are live streamed. Are we live streaming the Budget Committee meetings also? Or have you decided that yet?
Oh, we'll put that on the agenda to talk about. Never thought of it. Okay, good suggestion. Okay, I'm going to prompt the question. Councillor Zapp?
Yes.
You. Motion carries unanimously. So we have next year all set and our hearts are happy. Okay. Number 12, unfinished business. 12.1, Councillor Head. These are your three. No, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think we know that's not the right word, defer, but what is the, postpone to the next meeting. Thank you.
Well, is that for all three?
Yes, all three.
Okay. And I did some research. I found out we had a residential school. I didn't know we did that, had that. Well, I could only find the one from St. Almonds. Okay, Councillor Ed is asking all three be delayed to the next meeting. I need a seconder. Councillor Miller,
Yes, thank you, Mayor Dion.
thank you. Any comments? Do we need to prompt them? How do I prompt them? Just pick one of them? Ooh. Pick this one. Okay, the vote's now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. I voted. Everyone's in. Thank you. Motion carries. Okay. Mayors and councillors forum. Councillor Cody.
Yes, Your Worship, I had the opportunity today to be with three fellow councillors, Councillor Miller, Councillor Head, and Councillor Kilmer, and we had the official sod turning of the SGEU, hey, I got it right, building, which is down on 40th Street, and it's going to be a very, very beautiful building, and that will bring a whole bunch of departments that SGU have to one place. They were there in numbers, and I think they were very proud of the fact that they are getting a new building, and I think it's a great, great spot for them, and I just want to give them accolades for moving forward with a building of that magnitude in our community.
Thank you. Councillor Miller?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Dion. I attended the downtown street fair and had a beautiful walk with my youngest granddaughter. She walked the whole entire way. We started at the Brick and went all the way down to the museum and back. So yeah, we walked through the mall and seen a few artists in there. It was a wonderful day outside. And I also went to the multicultural culture days in Carleton High School. Great food and great culture there, and the food was actually really, really good. Councillor Zierakowski, I'm surprised you weren't there. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Bodnick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple things too. Yeah, I want to congratulate Carleton Comprehensive High School on their Indigenous Day last Friday. It was a day filled with learning and listening, and that's what this is all about right now, is for us to learn and listen and engage in dialogue. So they did a wonderful job in organizing a full day of activities for their students there. Also, yeah, congratulations to the people organizing Culture Days. It's an important event to show the multicultural makeup of Prince Albert, and that's what we are. We are from many peoples, one, and strength comes from those many peoples, and so it's always really good to see that. Lastly, I just want to thank the residents that are using our public facilities, our city-owned facilities, in particular the Art Hauser, where they are following the protocols of masks, and the announcements that are taking place are very well worded. So community services, thank you for the wording of the reminder to fans of how to use this and to prevent a stoppage. That's the key, is if we all work together in stopping the spread of this virus by wearing our masks, getting vaccinated, etc., it will help stop the spread and hopefully flatten the curve that we're doing. And we're doing our part as a city. And so I just want to congratulate the different groups that are using the Art Hauser. Right now, that's the facility that I've been at a few times, and how fans are now buying into it and respecting their fellow fans and getting going. And hockey's back, and so that's a good thing. We saw the Northern Bears, the Raiders home opener this Friday. It's going to be a huge event for the city to have, after 20 some months or almost 2 years, to have hockey back at the WHL level, and knowing that those Raiders are still the defending champions of the WHL. So that's pretty important. So thank you.
You're welcome. Councillor Edwards?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one thing. I just want to give credit to the Public Works Department, even though I disagreed with a couple of things. The work on the Rotary Trail, the pavement on the Rotary Trail is outstanding. I was able to bike the entire trail a couple of weeks ago, just about killed me, but I did it. And had to keep up to my boys and show that I could. But, there wasn't one bad patch of roadway in there. It's just incredible, and the residents really appreciate it. I know I certainly appreciated it, not going over any potholes or anything. So thank you very much, and it's a great thing to have in our city for sure.
Thank you. Anyone else before I move on? Okay. Oh.
I'm just reflecting upon the
Go ahead.
the athletic ability of my colleague as he biked the Rotary Trail. I had to pause in awe on that one. The West Hill Community Watch Group is going to have an annual meeting coming up soon, so I wanted to let the public know that. Lots of varied ideas and more people getting involved. So looking forward, this is one of the invitations that are going out to the people of West Hill who are involved in the Community Watch Program. And if you're not involved in the Community Watch Program and would like to be, send me a message and we'll get you hooked up. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I just have a couple items to talk about. Actually, I joined the Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan. I told him that I'm soon going to make him an honorary citizen because he's been here so much. It's good to have one from the north. And first of all, I joined him on Thursday, and he gave 29 people from our area their protective service medals. And this went to police, fire, corrections, and what I really appreciated this year, they added the medal to the Northern Rescue Group that were left out in the past, but now have been added to that protocol. So that was really nice to see that we identified, and what the Protective Service Medal was thanking them for over 25 years of service. And it was held at the E. Rawlinson Center, and it was a very good ceremony. And then I joined him again, and I'll just reflect on what Councillor Botnick said. I joined him Friday morning at 10 o'clock at Carleton, and he brought greetings on behalf of the Queen, and it was appropriate on their Aboriginal days. And it was very well attended. The students came out. They did commemorate this year to Victor Stonechild. No, I got that wrong. What was it? Sorry, Victor Thunderchild. And it was great. His family was there, his wife, and it was just a great ceremony. And again, I'd like to thank the Lieutenant Governor for joining us. And he seems to come whenever we need him, and that's been a big plus for us. Okay, with that, I'm going to move on to number 14, inquiries. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. I do have one inquiry, and I know we're looking into a bylaw for fireworks. I just need to know where we're at with that, because myself and other residents are getting very aggravated at the 1 a.m. fireworks that sound like gunshots and wake us all up. And therefore, I would like to know where we're at. I don't know what we're doing with it. I don't know when we're gonna see it, but I would like to know that.
Okay, I'll ask the fire chief if he has an update. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you for the question, Counselor. To my knowledge, we are in the final stages of finishing the bylaw. There are some extensive changes that will have to be looked at under the, wrapping up the bylaw by the solicitor's office and then, of course, the city manager's office. But I believe it'll be coming forthwith.
Thank you.
Okay, Counselor, Zirakowski?
I just have a follow-up there, please, just specifically, will there be something in the bylaw about fireworks set off on private land within the city limits?
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Sirakowski. The intent of the bylaw is to meet the needs and the wishes of council, and we heard loud and clear that council wanted to see low hazard fireworks eliminated from within the city, and that is our intent. Again, I'll just caution, there still is a permitting process for high hazard.
Yes. Okay, any other inquiries? Okay, hearing none, move on to 15, inquiry responses, September 7th. Councillor Bodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move that the September 7th, 2021 City Council meeting inquiry responses be received as information and filed.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Miller.
Yes, I'll second Mayor Dion.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing no one in the queue, I'll prompt the question. Okay, so it's got it. Now open. Councillor Zepp.
Yes.
Okay, everyone voted. Motion carries. Thank you. Notice of motions. Okay, I have one. Number one, that administration freeze all operational expenditures for the last quarter over and above the day-to-day regular purchase, with the exception that only absolutely required purchases be forwarded to the city manager for his consideration and approval. Number two, that the hiring of all city employees for the remainder of 2021 be forwarded to the city manager for his consideration, with only absolute requirements hired to be approved by the city manager. And once we get to motions, I'll be asking for leave to hear this one tonight. Okay. Oh, sorry. Councillor Zirakowski.
I just wonder if you could read that over again?
I will once I get leave.
Okay, so we're going to review that again.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so motions. So I will pass the chair to Councillor Edwards.
I don't have the mic here.
Yeah,
There,
you
now
do.
I do. Okay, go ahead with your motion.
Okay, I got this from a resident when I asked them for solutions. The Community Service Department bring forward a report for consideration at an upcoming meeting on what the cost would be to relocate the city's historic gazebo currently located at Riverbank West by the museum to the Little Red, and should include the following. Number one, the cost to transport the gazebo to the Little Red River Park. Number two, the gazebo placement suggestion from consultants of the park users. Number three, the cost to lay the foundation, supply electricity, and any other code requirements. Number four, the cost of any additional preparation to make this requirement. Number three, consultation with the Historical Society regarding the move. And if I get a seconder, I'll have more
Thank
comment.
you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Zerkowski. And discussion, Would you like to talk on that first? Or
Yes.
Okay.
What this is when we reached out to the community, what we should do with the gazebo to protect it. And I had lots of feedback, and the reason this person put this suggestion forward is actually a photographer. He said he could do a lot more business if the gazebo was at the Little Red for weddings, bands, for pictures. That part of the problem with the gazebo, it's almost on the street, that there's really no division between the street. So anytime you try to do an event there, you're always jumping in between cars and cars' noises and the traffic and everything in that area. And I never realized it till I went and looked today, and it's only about 6 feet off the sidewalk. And so I want to thank the residents for bringing this forward, and thank for council for debating it. And all this is asking for a report to see if it's even possible, and ask the Historical Society for their input.
Councillor Miller.
Thank you. So I guess I don't know the historical gazebo. I know that there's a historical bandstand, but I don't know nothing about a gazebo on the riverbank.
Same thing. Just to clarify, it's the same thing, whether it's called a bandstand or a gazebo. It's the white structure that's right beside the museum.
Commonly known as the gazebo.
Yeah.
So if it's historical,
Oh, just hang on, let me get your mic back on, sorry.
So if it's historical because it's a bandstand, not a gazebo.
Yeah, perfect. Councillor Ogrodnik.
Councilor Miller is right. Thank you, sorry, Deputy Mayor. There's nothing historical about that gazebo on the riverbank. That's not the historic bandstand. The historic bandstand that sat just outside here was used by this Prince Albert City Band back in the day. And I mean, it was an old structure. That was demolished. That is not historic. There's nothing historic about that gazebo. Should it be moved? No. I'm voting no. If we want to build photography's architectural designs out at Little Red, let's do it. Let's do it so that it fits with the historic nature of that park, which that park has unbelievable amount of history. Let's tie it into the to the Dakota people's ways of knowing if we're going to construct something so that it fits the park. Let's do something like that. Let's not just take a piece of the riverbank, a structure on the riverbank that some of us are not happy with, and move it. Let's leave it there. Let's deal with the situation. I respect the fact that a member of the public came to you. That I applaud that, and members of the public should come to us with ideas. However, we don't have to agree with them, and that's what I'll say to some residents when they come to me with ideas or concerns. I'll say, you're not going to like my response, but I'm not going to lie to you. This is not going to happen, or that can't happen, or whatever. And so I don't agree with moving it. I think it's fine where it is. It adds character to our riverbank. It can if we deal with the issues that we have in this city, it will become a really positive place, and it could become a very positive place. We could have, lunch hour musicians there, concerts there, or whatever, little concerts there, not, But I mean, let's use it. Let's start, instead of always criticizing the riverbank and our problems downtown, let's start dealing with them. Let's start embracing what we have as a community and working on that and building it up rather than moving or tearing it down or walls or whatever. So, Mr. Mayor, although I applaud you for bringing this forward, I'm going to vote against it.
That's fine.
Councillor Zerkowski.
Well, I think my colleague makes some good points, and I agree with him on some of those ideas. But I also think this has merit in getting the information in front of us so that we have that information and then we can make an informed decision. If this motion said, let's move it, I would vote against that as well. But what we're looking for is to ask the questions, get the information, and that's the step I'd like to take, because once we have that step, then maybe it'll lead to another step. Maybe not in the moving of this structure,
But a building on
but
the ridge.
maybe it'll lead into some of the opportunities my colleague mentioned, and some opportunities, because talking about the riverbank is a good thing. And how can we improve our community is a good thing. And so asking for this information and having to come back, and then again, having this repeat conversation, I'm hopeful will lead to something else, some other opportunity, some other partnerships, some positive partnerships, some positive activities that we could host that could occur on the riverbank. It's my understanding that the whole historical thing confused me. I don't know why it's historical. It's not even the original location. It's my understanding it was at the Kinsman Park or maybe up by the old museum, I'm not sure. So the historical thing, I'm not sure where that came from. But I'm hopeful this will lead and pull on that string and lead to other opportunities. So I'd like to move forward and see what information comes back, reinvigorate the conversation, and see what it leads to.
Councillor Head.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm not supporting this motion. I'm just reviewing some of our meeting minutes from September 13th. We've had a presentation from the Municipal Cultural Action Plan. And in there, they highlight this gazebo, that's why I know it as. You know, being that this is a main attraction and one of the pieces of art we have on our riverbank. So if anything, we want to add to it, not take it away. Yeah, I know there's possibly some social issues around that, but again, I don't think it's something that I'm willing to entertain. And defeating it tonight, not wasting the administration's time to even review some of those asks on whether or not what the cost is going to be. They have enough work in terms of building a new road even, or taking one out. So I don't think even tasking them with this ask is even worth their while. Thanks.
Okay, that's it. That's it.
Okay, Mayor Dion, Councillor Tara Lennox-Zapp, you have something?
Please, thank you. I appreciate that this is just seeking a report at this stage. However, I have to mention a couple of things. One is that if the reason that we're looking into this is that we have social dysfunction on our riverbank, which I take from the conversation, that's why this is being raised. I do not see just moving and having a separation of the gazebo or bandstand from people who are having social dysfunction on our riverbank. I don't see that as a solution. Separating, I think, is not the idea that we're looking for. Just removing something, and I understand seeking a solution to preserve the gazebo. However, just a pure separation, move it to the Little Red River Park, I think is not not a solution in terms of trying to be collaborative and trying to be positive. As was mentioned, if we're wanting to have a photography type structure for photography at Little Red River Park, let's talk about that. But this is different. We don't need to move this structure. And I would note that there's plenty of positive use of this structure. Currently, I know that daycares in our city walk children to this structure, and you know, it's a nice feature of our riverbank, and I think we can do better than just trying to remove it. So I'm hopeful that we can keep thinking and keep working on this to have a positive outcome. Thank you.
Now, just in closing, just so I correct everyone, the writer that sent this to me wasn't talking about our social programs. He was talking about better utilizing, whatever you want to call it, the grandstand or the gazebo. And he, as I mentioned, the challenges of taking pictures there, having weddings there, because it's just 6 feet off the roadway, and the noise in there is not conducive, and he felt it could be better utilized there. So I just want to correct everyone. It wasn't a result of our social programming. At least that's what he told me, and I have no reason to doubt that.
And I just would like to add a comment if I actually have heard some positive remarks about
Yes.
having it out at Little Red and how the pictures will be great, but actually using it as a bandstand. And because there's bands out at Little Red, and I don't think I've ever seen a band on the riverbank in there, but maybe there has been. So that's everything from me. We'll prompt the vote.
Okay, the vote is open. Counselor Zepp?
No.
One more vote. Oh, motion's defeated. Thank you for your consideration. No, to me? No, you got to keep the chair. Sorry. You got to keep. I'll alarm you.
Glad to take over.
Okay. I move that notice provision be waived to permit the consideration of the operating and hiring freeze motion at tonight's meeting.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Yeah. Counselor Cody? Oh. I didn't see you.
It was him.
Counselor Ogrodnik or Cody, whichever one. It doesn't matter.
He was cued.
I'll
He
second
was
that
queued.
vote.
Okay,
Or that
perfect.
motion, I should say.
I don't have the vision this way.
Is it up? Okay, I'll move the question.
Any discussion on the motion?
No, this is the
Hearing
way.
none? Oh, this is for leave, granting leave.
Okay, the
Then
motion's
we
now
need
open.
2/3.
Yes, Counselor Zepp?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Thank you for your support.
Okay, thank you. And we'll hear the motion.
Okay, number one, the administration freeze all operation expenditures for the last quarter over and above the day-to-day regular purchase, with the exception that any absolute required purchase be forwarded to the city manager for consideration and approval. Number two, that the hiring of all city employees for the remainder of 2021 be forwarded to the city manager with consideration. Only absolute requirement hired be approved by the city manager.
Thank you. And a seconder? Counselor Ogrodnik?
I'll second that motion, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you very much. And discussion on the motion, Counselor Zerkowski.
I'm just taking a moment to read this. I think we understand that it's going to be a very difficult budget with a lot of asks coming forward, whether it be personnel or equipment. Okay, so here's my comfort level. I'm okay with moving forward in the spirit of this. However, we know how often decisions are made without us being aware. We find out decisions 6 months later or a year later. And my comfort level is I want to know sooner than that. And in my opinion, I'd be comforted by wherever it says to the city manager and the mayor for consideration and approval, and not to put this on you, your worship, but that holds you, I think, you accountable to us as well, and you accountable for those decisions as well. And I think it's important so that we're, again, administration and the elected moving together in a positive way in some of these decisions moving forward. And I think it's in that spirit, I want to make sure that we're able to do that, moving forward together, the elected and administration. So I wonder, I know this is your motion, I wonder if you'd be amenable to, I suppose, a friendly amendment to being part of that process.
And I don't have a
get to
problem.
meet with the city manager very often, but I know where to find you in a hurry if I need to bark or to talk.
And I'm also the chair of the budget committee, so it
chair
sort
of the
of
budget
fits.
committee. I think that's a really good point too. That responsibility is huge, and it carries a lot of responsibility. So I think if the purpose is moving into budget, how does the new hires affect? Not that we're saying don't hire anybody. I think there's probably, that I'm aware, one or two roles that need to be filled.
Yes.
Ones that directly affect the public and make their lives better, in my opinion, but I'll hold my comments for that. But yeah, so as I'm prolonging here and reading that over, to the city manager and the mayor for consideration. I wonder if you'd be acceptable to that.
I'm acceptable.
So am I.
Thank you.
Okay, good. That's
Okay,
good.
thank you.
Councillor Head.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a question, I mean, we go through budget processes, I know it wasn't an easy task this year, to kind of put aside monies for certain purchases. Now, to agree to this is saying that all the work that we've done, is gonna be now vetoed because we're gonna put a hiring freeze. And then I'm worried a little bit about the hiring. I don't want any of our services to hinder our residents, so I wonder, I'm worried about the wording absolutely required. I mean, I don't know what that looks like, and I know there's some conversation about, only the necessary positions. Well, I don't know what those look like, and I guess, I don't know. I'm a little leery about that, because if you can explain a little more of your intentions behind this motion.
Okay, I'll explain it. For example, if someone was to come to me and say that we need to replace the lovely lady that we had working in public services, I would agree to that because she's a frontline worker, so she takes all the complaints and the calls and dispatches. So to me, that's an absolute position, okay? The purchases, I don't think should be a big issue strictly because going into the last quarter, you've had your budget for 9 months, and if you haven't bought it by now, you probably don't need it. But there might be something out there that is required, and you sometimes have to take that into consideration. So it's not to lay a heavy hand on it, it's just to make sure that we need it because we are in some tough times.
Just a follow-up question. Some of these equipment purchases, I understand takes months to get, and so ones that have already been ordered will be paid for. I guess just moving forward, if you haven't ordered it yet, then you're not going to get it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct. Like if you haven't ordered your grader for snow removal this fall, you're not going to have it. Because we're not going to get it for the snow season anyway, because it takes that long to get the equipment.
Quite confident that everything's been ordered that way.
Yep.
Can you scroll down just a little bit? Up, sorry. Freeze all operating budget expenditures. Okay. I'm a little concerned about all operating budget expenditures, but I'm going to support the motion. I would like to know how much money we'll save by doing this at the end sometime, because we never really know.
We don't know until the end of the year.
That's right. So it would be nice to have a report back to know how much money we saved, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll prompt the vote.
Is it in here? Okay, I'm prompting the vote. Which is it? Right there, found it.
Councillor Lennox Epp.
No.
Okay, the motion passes 7-2. Thank you.
Okay, I think that is it. I'll pass the chair back to you, Mayor Dion.
Thank you. Let's move over here. We have no more motions. We have no one on public forum. Councillor Kilmore.
I move to adjourn.
Seconder. Seconder. Councillor Edwards, second. I'll prompt the question. I'll be quick. Adjournment. Councillor Zapp.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you very much.